This is AIM Meeting 5, Agenda Item Number 5, Task Cards for Putting the Changes in Place. Okay, so today we are going to be creating task cards for putting the changes in place. Now remember, and actually you can refer to let's flip into page 19 in your task force notebook where it has the information here. So remember in meeting 4, we talked about and made tasks related to getting approval and building buy-in. And you all already started working on completing those tasks. So congratulations. Now in meeting 5, we're going to be focusing on putting the change in place and planning for sustainability. We already talked a little bit about planning for sustainability, and we're going to come back to that in a minute. But right now I'm going to show you the checklist for putting the changes in place. So if you turn to page 22 in your task force notebook, the checklist looks like this. And what this is basically a list of categories of things that it's good to consider as you think about what you're going to need to do in order to implement your changes so that they're ready to go by next fall. There's a list of 7 items, and what we'd like you to do is address each of these items with task cards for your change. Or if you come across something that's not applicable to your change, which might be the case for some of you and some of your changes, you can just check the not applicable box next to it. But the purpose of this is really just to get you thinking and make sure you're covering all the bases of things that you need to do. So let's start, let's just look at number 1, which says gather information, and I have a flip chart up here. We're going to do this one together and kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about, and then once we kind of go through the checklist and answer your questions, you all are going to work in your planning teams and can work on putting your task cards together. So just make sure that you're asking questions and you're really clear about what you need to do. So for gathering information, what does it say underneath there? Yeah, so information that you can learn from books, magazines, online sources such as aimschools.net. Anybody would like to work on one of your changes? And we'll do the sample here. Okay, Jerry will talk about your salad bar and putting that salad bar in place for next fall. So you're the green task cards. Let me give you here's a couple of cards and you can jot these down as we go. And just a reminder, we want tasks to be specific and doable, okay? So to make sure that whoever is setting out to accomplish that task has what they need to do it, and it's something that they can accomplish between meetings. All right, so how about the salad bar? What kind of information would it be helpful to gather in order to put this salad bar in place? Yeah, so finding out information about possible grant opportunities. That's a really good one. And I know that there is information about this at aimschools.net. So that's a place that you should check out. There's an organization called Salad Bars to Schools that can help you out, and you can find that link right here at aimschools.net. Any other information that would be helpful to learn about the salad bar? Sure, like what types are available? Exactly. Oops. So research this, exactly, and come up with a list. Yeah, that will probably help when you figure out how you're going to fund it, and it'd probably be good to have a variety of options depending on what your funding ends up looking like. Great. So any questions about number 1, gathering information? Does that make sense? So how many task cards do we have here? Yes, 2. Awesome. Good job, Jerry. So you're just going to write each one of these on its own task card, and then when I'm all done with my task cards, I can just check the box that says yes on my checklist. All right. So I also want to point out number 6 on the list. What does number 6 say? Sustain the change. Perfect. So, do you remember that we did this? Just a few minutes ago, exactly. And all that information is over here on red, in the red marker. So you'll see there are two little bullets here, and each one of those can be its own task card. So I could write for the salad bar again, a task card about putting it in the school policy, and a task card about adding it to the food service job description. Does that make sense? Okay, excellent. Well, so you're going to be off on your own, so I have a poster here to kind of remind you what to do. All you're going to do is, with your task cards, address the points on the checklist by writing task cards for the items, creating tasks to reflect the sustainability strategies, which again are over here. So don't forget to check that flip chart. And then finally, just make sure your tasks are specific and doable. And I'll be walking around if you need some help.